Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. You know, producer Barbie's probably actually doing that right now. You guys that know the show, she's out in California, and that was the 101 just north of Malibu, which, as we all know, isn't exactly the same place it is or was. I mean, got ravaged. Freaking leaders, man. Some of them are morons. Anyway, we already got a few people jumping on here. I appreciate you guys jumping in early. We actually had like 3 or 4 people waiting for the show to come on. One final moment before I introduce to you Rich Chi. Awesome message. I mean, fascinating as well as awesome. This is an inter-strength, inter-healing. He almost died, and you know, there's a book he's written that obviously we're going to talk a lot about, but it's also about this talent, this skill, this thing that I'm really curious about. I'm not going to let it out right now, but believe me, you want to be here all the way through this. This is pretty exciting because, as you know, this is the great middle class. We provide, we answer the concerns and enlighten and engage the great middle class, because as a group, we're powerful, man. We're the freaking backbone of this country. So got more people coming on. I just want to get to one more thing before I bring them on. You know, producer Barbie and I, we go over show notes, this, that, different things that are going on, and you know, all the stuff we should be doing. By the way, is my face getting really red? It's weird. I noticed it was real flush. I hope I'm not. Wow, this is good. Usually when I'm talking this long, we start getting people dropping off until somebody, you know, the expert, Rich in this case, is jumping on. So, okay, I'll take this. This is good. I'm not going to take too much more time. I just wanted to say this. So producer Barbie and I were going over some things from the last show and a couple of things. And I don't know if you know this, but do you remember, oh shit, now I forgot his name. The catcher that was so famous. Dang it, Rich Chi, if you can remember that. I'm older than you, but I should remember it. But he's very famous for putting words backwards to make a point that at first sounds like the opposite. And then you come on, I want to say, buddy, and then the message sinks in. We call it in our little world here, Barbieisms. Actually want to write a book, like a tabletop book. And so the reason I bring all this up is because she created for me the word of the day. And I'm going to have her jump on and talk about it if that comes up. But with all that said, we got about 50 people coming in now. Thank you for your support. This is so important. What we're doing here is starting to become, I mean, we're getting 20, 30 new subscribers every day. And we do a broadcast every day. In this case, we're doing 2, the best one coming up. And so, you know, that movement is really starting to take some momentum, and it's because of our guests. I mean, people who bring in information and ideas and stuff. I'm looking right at that damn thing. I'm trying to work with that. Hey, look, you all know this isn't aesthetically pretty. It's the guests that we have here that really make the show all about what it is. Now we're getting up to 100 people. I can't really steal the stage anymore, can I, Rich? I'm getting really selfish here. So with that, I want to introduce you guys to my new friend, Rich Chi. I missed that. Damn it! I had that timing down perfect. I didn't click
it. It works. I'm here.
You are here. That's awesome. So we were talking a little bit in the back, in the green room, I like to call it. We were talking about this mission, this message that you have, and it's deeper. It's a lot, spiritual healing, inner strength, inner growth. That's the wide message, and then you're coming into inner power, physical power. Would you do me a favor? And the now 162, man, this is going to be a fun show. That takes off pretty quick. I'm glad you were on time. That obviously matters. I get in trouble when we start. I've been in trouble a few times, not just from producer Barb. I've had people call me, "What the heck? I had to walk away 2 or 3 times from the thing until you finally came." Okay. They're awesome though. So, Rich, start at birth. Start wherever that story makes the sense to start, and start. Let's take us down that journey. I'll jump in every once in a while. You may use nomenclature that I don't understand. If I understand everything, everybody here is like, they got that. So let's start off. How you doing, Rich?
Yeah, I'm awake. How are you?
Rich Chi. Yeah, you are awake. I am as well awake. I think I'm flushed. This is bugging me now. I get interested in weird things. So you only have to deal with it for an hour.
Yeah, no problem. Stay hydrated. But yeah, I guess it all started in the tundra in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
I'm from Buffalo, so go Bills.
Yeah.
Still waiting for our championship.
No. I had a Lion guy on the other. I just had a Lion guy. I'm a Bears, in the center here, kind of so many disappointments. I feel your pain, but you guys have a lot more success. You got an organization, actually.
Hey, they're starting to get together, building $2 billion stadium. So,
Yeah.
But
not a bad gig.
Yeah, so I grew up in Buffalo, New York. So, I didn't see the sun that much. And
I know that.
But
I'm not going to make it through this with this vest on. It's freaking getting hot in here, man.
Do what you got.
I may throw it. So yeah, you like me, I had a lot of darkness around. That's the main reason producer Barbie went back to California. It's overcast all the time. No vitamin D, man.
But yeah, so my brother got me involved in martial arts when I was like 8 years old. My dad actually passed away when I was 8, so
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my brother, he was super cool though, and he stepped in and he just always, took me on little field trips to all his little commercials and movies that he was shooting and stuff. He's a videographer.
Oh, wow, cool.
But he got me involved when I was into martial arts when I was 8, and I remember the first day that, so they had like this group of guys, hardcore martial arts guys.
Right.
And they went to the park, Delaware Park, and they would train in this park, and just, I was 8 years old. So he just brought me in and I was doing, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, just like with the adults, just doing everything they do. And I'll never forget, I got home and the next morning I woke up, I couldn't get out of bed.
I bet.
I was, but I was so sore. So from that day forward, I was stuck on this like no pain, no gain, more is better mentality that just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I kept following that, and it drained the life out of me. So, I wrestled in high school.
I did.
All right. Well, wait.
I in high school I did 177. Okay. And through high school and then into college, and I messed around with the Olympics during that time, and I was 180.5 there.
Okay.
I did wrestle some heavyweights though. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, we all wrestled up.
Absolutely. Just don't get underneath of them, man.
Oh god. But so I wrestled. I was boxing. I was training, and then I was kickboxing, training with the Jordanian national team captain.
Damn, dude.
and I was training for MMA, and you know, I was 220 pounds. I was solid muscle. You know, I looked super healthy and fit, right? If you saw me, you'd be like, oh, that's a healthy dude right there. Um,
Right.
it, all my blood tests were normal. All my specialists just kept saying the same thing. But
How old are you now? How old are you now at
I'm
this?
pushing 40.
No, no, not. I'm sorry, not now. What you're talking about? The
I was about age 19. Sorry.
Okay, so you were in prime studman
Yeah, yeah.
position here. Yeah,
Peak of my health and fitness career.
exactly.
But I had no energy. And I tried to tell people this, and they just look at me like, "What are you talking about? You're a super healthy and fit guy. You're training for 2 hours, at a time." But I couldn't lie. I felt horrible. I had no. It was a struggle for me just to get through the day without falling asleep.
Yeah.
So one day I was training for my next fight. My buddy's basement. We had our little fight training club. Don't
Yep.
talk about it. Uh, but
Great movie.
yeah. But my heart rate shot up to like well over 200. It wouldn't go back down. I got rushed to the hospital
Whoa.
and I almost died. And
Whoa.
I was just, when I got out of there, I was just like, all right, I clearly got to try something else because I clearly don't know what health and fitness is. It's not working. I may look super awesome and, muscular, but I just feel like death and I
Yeah.
almost died due to severe exhaustion. So I had to try something different.
Yeah.
So, my buddy, so like many people, we do everything conventional, and then we say, "Oh, let's try this alternative method." What the heck? What I got to lose? So, my buddy, I remember everybody always talking about this crazy herbologist guy who lives out in the country. So I went one day, just in my car, completely brain fogged and brain dead, just exhausted, because I only had energy when I was training, which find out later I was adrenaline junkie. We can talk about that later. But
Exactly.
so I went to him and I was like, "Hey man, I'm looking for this herbologist. You ever hear of him?" He's like, "Yeah, it's me." You all right?
Okay. Bam.
So and, after telling him my story, he looked at me. He felt a couple spots on my body. Uh, you know, did a couple of quick exams, and he listened to me. And after like 5 minutes, he was like, "Yep, I think your organs are starting to shut down." And I was like,
Wow.
I was shocked. I was like, wait, I've age 19, 220 solid. I was only ever told that I was peak health and fitness. I was perfectly healthy and fit. What is this guy talking about? But on
Yeah.
the other hand, I was super intrigued and relieved that, hey, this is the first guy who sounds like he knows what's wrong with me. This is the
Yeah.
first guy who's like presenting like a thesis or a problem. And I'm like, so, I started going to him, uh, and after every single thing he told me to do, I started to feel better. I started to have more energy. And, I guess the blood test and everything stayed the same, but
That's weird. No, it wasn't an iron thing. It's not an iron. That's the first thing I thought of was lack
no,
of iron.
so,
But
and that's
wow.
exactly that's what's, we talk about this Maha movement, make America healthy again. And, like we struggle so much in this country with health and, chronic disease, but every like health and fitness guru and guy out there, I don't hear anybody, like everybody's sidestepping the electricity in the body. And that's what nobody was testing for is the electricity in my body. Like
Yes. Yes.
how strong or weak it was. So that's how everything went undetected. And, I all healthy and fit to modern standards and almost died at the same time.
Wow. That's a curveball. I
Yeah.
mean, right?
But, I consider myself lucky because if I never would have found
Oh
that
yeah.
guy, or this path, I would have just kept just, listening to all the health and fitness gurus, oh, let me just take this supplement, right? Oh, that's another thing that right before that burnout, um, so right before that little near death experience, people kept telling me, everybody's always telling me, oh, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that iron? Why don't you get your iron checked? Why don't you
Right.
go
That's
to
what we normally do.
yeah. why don't you go see somebody? Maybe it's just a chemical imbalance in your head. So I said, okay, what do I got to lose? So I went, and after, a big 15-minute in-depth interview, assessment, convinced me I had depression, and my neurotransmitters weren't jumping the synapse.
All right.
So let's give you something to help those things jump the synapse. But again, not addressing the root problem. Why weren't
No.
they addressing the synapse instead of souping them up to jump the synapse? Why weren't they? Again, my body was just overall unhealthy. My body was drained. My electricity was drained. So I started waking up in the morning, like 4 in the morning, like all hyped up, like it was some kind of stimulant. And a lot of times,
Oh, the pills, the
yeah,
supplements they were
yeah.
giving you. Oh, gotcha.
So
Oh,
it
that
was,
sucks.
oh,
Oh,
yeah. But it was meant to, also help, the
sure.
chemical imbalance in the brain, the neurotransmitters. But it was a stimulant. I mean, call it what it is. And
Mhm.
it just kept speeding up. So I was waking up at 4 in the morning doing power cleans, in my buddy's basement, like, you can do it, like the gazelle guy. And I was like, man, this is
Sorry about
great.
that. You got me.
This is great. I feel awesome,
Woo! Yeah.
Um, but in the back of my head, I don't know if you remember those commercials. That's not natural.
Yes.
He's doing the spray
Yes.
on hair, and he's like,
Yes.
I just kept hearing in the back of my head, this just isn't natural.
Yeah.
And again, I was training for my next fight, and yeah, my body just almost gave out. So that's what we do. We live this unhealthy lifestyle. Even like me, we try to live this healthy lifestyle, but
Mhm.
we are not taught. Like, this information is hidden from us. So
Mhm.
we end up just draining our energy very gradually, and it's just super unfortunate. And while it's unfortunate that this happened to me, it brought me on this path, and it made me write this book, and it led me all around the world to train with the most powerful human beings in the world. And it taught me what true health really is. And now I'm able to at least make some kind of lemonade out of these lemons that were chucked at me, at age 19,
Yeah.
and
That's
help other
insane.
people before they drain themselves for their entire life.
And your timing of your message here, you mentioned it with Robert Kennedy, that the administration starting to make some shifts and things. I mean, there's so many foods, just coloring, right? You know all this, no doubt, but that are illegal in Europe, and we just pump them out. I mean,
Oh
we
man.
produce the worst food for our own people in the world. Diabetes, dying,
Yeah.
absolutely number one. But diabetes and overweight, and then there's a partnership going on because the you talked about it, the pharmaceutical company, hey, I got a pill, you'll be fine, got a pill, and they're only $300 a bottle or whatever. You know what I mean? We're in a vicious cycle, and what you're hitting on right now is, I mean, we're in a dangerous cycle because our lifespan, it's going up because we're being kept alive,
Yeah.
basically, in this weird sense. And I've always believed it's quality of life, not length of life. I mean, the most for both of them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're in a bad spot. Dude, you're right ahead of the wave, man.
Well,
Open up the doors, teach us all.
so I am a dietitian by trade. Like, I don't know if I told everyone,
Oh,
but
no, I didn't
dietitian,
know that.
personal trainer, diabetes educator, and yoga instructor, life
I saw
enthusiast.
that.
Um,
Yeah, I love yoga.
so as so the one of the biggest things with diet that I got sucked into, like, the dyes are definitely not good. And it's funny. I actually I went to a dietitian conference, and it was like the head of this huge, huge, huge conglomerate industry. And I stood up and asked the
Oh
question. I
no.
got
Oh,
slapped. I got slapped on the wrist majorly for this. It's not polite to call people out at a conference with your professionals, but I just asked, I said point blank, I said, I don't mind giving my kids, all this sweet stuff every once in a while for a treat, but how come the same candy bar in Canada has like 5 ingredients and the same candy bar here has like 20? Like, what can we do something about that? And really big,
Oh,
long, roundabout, sidestepping
oh.
answer. Uh,
You mean a word salad?
yeah, 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 like a Caesar one. Um, but
Had a little bit of meat in it.
probably a Cobb salad because it had just all kinds of words just thrown in there.
Yep. It was,
But
yep.
so my big uh, energy drainers were sugar and caffeine, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. We just get drained with life, and we use
Sugar's
sugar and
actually really bad, isn't it? Sugar's like one of the
huge, man.
worst things for you, right? Isn't
We could
it?
we could do a whole podcast on sugar, and it would be like a 100-part series. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Sugar's horrible, but
so
I
I
love
got
it.
sucked into, again. I was just not healthy fundamentally, so I was taking like using sugar and caffeine as a crutch. So I remember when
Yeah.
I'd be in the cafeteria for college, and I would have like a little bit, like a cookie, like maybe like a, just a small little thing, and that the combination of sugar and refined flour was enough to just, my body was so weak, I would just like feel like I was going to pass out for like 2 hours. Same thing with MSG, like this little ingredient flavor enhancer that they like to sneak into our food.
That's
Um,
the became famous with the Chinese food, really became a big
yeah,
deal,
yeah.
which is another great food. I'm dying early, dude. I'm
And,
dying. I know it. I can.
it's funny because every time you go to Chinese, it always says no MSG. So I don't know, maybe
I know.
maybe
Well,
they
they were
caught
harassed.
on. I don't know.
No, no, no. They were forced. I mean, when it
Oh,
first came out, there was a point like I mean, this goes back to the 80s. I'm no expert on this, but I know about because I'm a Chinese food fan. And I remember I couldn't figure out what is this MSG stuff, 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard about it since except for Chinese food. And the
well,
only time I hear about it is it doesn't contain it, and it's weird to me.
I mean, you gotta. My kids know to check their labels. My son's like 7, and he'll look at the label and tell me, "Ugh, Dad, it's got MSG." Or the latest one now is, "Ugh, Dad, it's got bioengineered." And I'm just like, "Sorry, buddy. Gotta We gotta find something
How old's
else."
your son? How old's your
He's
son?
7, 7.
All right, yeah, bioengineer. Oh
But I
man, the
mean,
world's changing.
they're just sneaking it in, and could it be harmless? It's a possibility, but the truth is we're not going to know until 20, 30, 40-year studies, long-term studies come out, like, oh, hey, messing with the DNA of food, it's actually not good for you, and it causes this, and this. So I would just rather not be an experiment, and
Good point.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I could tell the difference when you eat good quality, like organic,
Oh
whether it's
yeah,
got the label or it's just from a farmer's market, organic food, you just tell the difference.
yeah.
But
There's a richer substance. I like to call it a little coloring between the layers. Yeah, I totally get it. It's like a fuller sensation. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
I tell people, like when I go to Europe, like, man, just the food, it just tastes different. It's fresh. It's like another flavor.
It is.
Sweet,
It is
salty,
exactly.
sour,
Yeah, yeah.
fresh. And then you come back here and it's like, wow, it's so different. you know?
Crazy, isn't it?
But what I was trying to get at is my body was so weak, I don't know if anybody out there listening has the same problem, but you get really tired after you eat. So I would get exhausted. My body just couldn't handle even a little bit of sugar. So um but again, nothing that was not picking up on any um blood test or any, specialist was picking up on it or able to help me with it. But after boosting my overall, all the electrical circuits in my body, including the digestive circuit, I improved what ancient forms of healing called my digestive fire, my digestion. And I started to be able to not only tolerate food and eating, but what happens when you give a kid sugar or you give them food? They actually get energy from it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like little bouncing off the walls. By the way, I want to apologize right now. You notice I've been and I'm not distracted. I'm listening to everything, but something happened.
Check your crypto,
Usually
right?
by now we got like 20. Yeah, we usually have like 15, 20 questions or comments. By now I was messing with some. I hope I didn't shut up because I just got a text saying, "Hey, there's no comments. What's going on?" So anyway, I apologize for that.
Hopefully they're just like mesmerized by what we're talking about.
Well, that's for sure. I guarantee that. But I'm literally getting texts saying, "Hey, I can't make a comment," and I'm like, "Fuck." So that's kind of why I'm
Barbie at?
doing
Where's
that.
Barbie at?
Yeah, well, she's one of them that texted me.
Oh man. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure your people can they can message you other places maybe.
Yeah, they make comments and so forth, but it's always really cool to kind of have that interaction to see. I mean, we've got almost 300 people on, and I guarantee you there'd be questions. So I don't want to get you distracted. And
oh, no problem.
You'd probably, but I am trying to figure this out because you deserve questions. I love this thing. Keep going, man.
Yeah, I'm Italian, so I can keep talking.
My aunt's husband, Frank Sforza. He is his parents came over from the old. I love Italians, man. No wonder I like you so much.
So let me see. So yeah, I was exhausted. I couldn't, tolerate food a lot of times. My body was just drained. So I would get tired after I ate. And but yeah, after I met this guy, he was an acupuncturist and he taught yoga, and I just started eating differently, sleeping differently, moving differently, and thinking differently. And I started a holistic health center, and we helped just like thousands of people. Like one of the biggest ones was infertility, back and joint pain, autoimmune.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold, stay there on infertility. That's because that's a big deal. And, all these other statistics are there, but infertility seems to be obviously not as much talked about because it's personal. But how does that unlock happen? Because I guarantee you some ears just perked up.
Yeah.
Next generation.
I mean, yeah. We always say we're number one. We're number one, and then why are we struggling so much with fertility? But again, it's just I'll break it down very simply. Like if the body is healthy, if the body is functioning optimally, obviously, hopefully you're not like 70, 80 years old and trying to have kids, but if you're at a decent age, your body is healthy and you're functioning optimally, your body will be able to do all the normal healthy processes like digest food, get rid of waste, breathe, and have kids, and produce healthy sperms and produce healthy eggs, and be able to bear a child and have a kid. But if you're not, you're going to struggle, just like you're going to struggle with everything else. So we would, and it's funny because if we were right across the street from this modern fertility clinic, with
oh, you are
the conventional. Well, this was like 15 years ago. We
Yeah.
were right across the street from a conventional, fertility clinic, and they would send all their, patients that they were like, they just wrote them off as like, oh yeah, you got scarring, you got issues, like you're hopeless, like good luck. And they would come to us again, last resort, coming to the alternative holistic people,
Yeah.
and after like 6 months, bam, pregnant, felt better, and it just every single time almost. So yeah, you have to. One of the things I always tell people is health is how you feel, and it's tricky because sometimes this as we go through life, our energy and our body, mind, and our spirit is just gradually declining. So we don't feel, we don't notice it. You know, like you may think you're 10 out of 10, you're 100%, your optimal functioning right now is the way you feel. But I got to such a low, like obviously it was pretty obvious. I felt horrible, even though some people were trying to convince me like, oh, you're fine. I was starting to think, oh, maybe, this is just how I'm supposed to feel. I'm just supposed to feel like crap every day, but I knew I could feel better. So once I
Yes.
felt, I was down here, like below the screen, like, like 10 floors, like in the, deepest hole that we've drilled.
Damn.
I was down there, and now I
Damn.
started to feel up here. And so now I had a different baseline. And that's what I love about,
Okay.
that's what I love about,
Okay.
real wellness. I call it the new health consciousness, is that, or the new wellness conscious, is that there's really no limit to how good you can feel. So if you're getting tired, in the middle of the day for no reason, or after you eat, or you just don't feel good, you're not happy and you don't know why, a lot of times it's just, your body's just not at optimal functioning. And there's so many things. This is why I wrote this book. There's so many things that you can do to take control of your health, mind, mental, mind, body, spirit, and just start feeling better.
It's a whole thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
holistic means whole. I mean, my mother, let's see, my the father of my children, her mom got cancer, and uh, especially back then, there was the medical industry wasn't doing what it should to take her cancer away. And she literally found some holistic approaches. And what was the word you used? I like that. The new mindset.
The new health consciousness.
The new health consciousness. It should be so much more talked about. I mean, it's not like it just, you started it yesterday. I mean, there's a real thing there. That's a thing. And it's a better thing than the thing we use, but the thing we use makes a lot of people wealthy.
Yeah.
Are you agree?
Yeah, you said it. I'll let you take the heat.
Hey, that's what I'm here for, brother.
You're
That's what I'm
professional.
here for. All right. I'll take the arrows. Come on, bring them on.
But yeah, so I learned, so after maybe and again, like, there's so many more episodes we can do, but I had to go through the mental, the whole mental aspect of healing. And I just remember sitting in meditation, because my teacher would always tell me, you gotta sit in meditation, you gotta sit in meditation. And all of a sudden, I was alone in my apartment, and I just started to hear, you're no good, you're worthless, you're never going to amount to anything. And I just sat and looked around in my apartment like, am I hearing things? Like because this was the first time that I became conscious of my subconscious, because so many of us, we're constantly running away from our fears, that they're stuck. But when you do things like acupuncture or yoga or the muscle release system, which I created, and you start opening up muscle tension and decompressing your spine, you literally start pulling out stuck emotions and stuck trauma, just like right out into the open. And then you have the opportunity to deal with them and move forward and to really heal from it. And it opens up, again, everything goes back to the electricity in the body. It opens up the current flow in all the circuits. And once, everything is flowing freely,
Unclogged.
and you can boost the circuits, boost the current going through them. Again, your baseline is going to be up here now. It's just going to keep going up and up and up until your functioning is I mean, if people can shoot electricity out of their hands, in other parts
we got to talk about that. We got to talk about
obviously,
that.
there's things that we don't know here, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't they say, well, I've said this a few times, and it really exposes my lack of unique knowledge, but the mind, the body, if hooked up to I think a small town, it would power that for a week. That's how much the energy you're talking about. I
Right.
mean, if that's
Like
right or wrong, I'm not sure, but that
well, yeah, I've heard the analogy like, we're only using 5% of our brain or
8%,
something.
that's true. That
Yeah.
I've heard. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, just like I said, there's people literally shoot like, okay, so fast forward like, 15, 20, like another episode. We have to talk about the Kundalini
What do we got?
awakening I had.
What do we got? Four, I think, right now.
Oh
We
man.
got 4 episodes.
All right, so the fifth one is going to be the Kundalini awakening I had while I was
Oh,
sitting in meditation.
Kundalini. Okay.
It's like, and I talk about this in the book. We have all these different names for the energy of the. So
What's the name of the book again? Give me that.
GetRechargedNow.com.
I knew you had it right there. Oh, cool. Okay. Nice. Okay, get recharged. Make sure and type that in. Although I don't know what the hell I did, but I'm sorry.
No comment.
I know my audience is gonna kick my ass because, because
right.
I don't know why it's not going. So I'm sorry for that, but
No problem.
let's make it happen, brother. So
Yeah.
Go ahead. You put that in your book.
So there's so many different names to the energy in the body. Chi is Chinese. Kundalini is the Ayurvedic from India, term. In modern science, we call it like bioelectricity or bioenergy, or just straight electricity, because it literally is, it's electrons, but it is a little different. It's not 100% the same as electricity. But so searching for answers, I just, after I had that little Kundalini awakening that we do our next, our 5th podcast show on, I started going on
I'm
YouTube.
marking it down. I got this recorded. I'm going to remember this. So
nice.
You started going on YouTube.
So I started going on YouTube and started telling everybody, oh, look, okay, I might as well talk about it now real quick. So this was like the first, well, this is the second. So the first one, let me back up. When I first, I met, my teacher, and I started the holistic guy,
Right.
and everything he told me to do, eat vegetables for breakfast and all this stuff, do this yoga pose. I was on the table one day, a treatment table, and I started to feel, shoo, 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 shoo.
Oh wow!
I literally started to feel my chi, the electricity in my body shoot up and down all my arms and legs, and I was just like, oh my god! Like I wanted to jump off the table, but I had a bunch of needles in me. So, but I just remember after that day, like I called everybody, all my relatives that they've been helping me, and encouraging me, to help get through this. I was like, yo, I just felt like the chi in my body like shooting up and down. Like, I think I'm going to be okay. Like, I think I'm almost there. So that was the first awakening. And I talk about that in the book. That was like the first witnessing that the electricity in the body is real, because, there's some places online where you read like, oh, Chinese medicine, chi is a theory, about this so-called energy. No, it's part of my language. It's freaking real. Like, okay. Like, again, we'll get to the people shooting electricity out of their hands.
No, it's fucking real. Okay. You don't have to pardon freaking. That's a
no problem.
That's a common word. Come on.
Gotcha. Man. Okay. So, again, I'll let you take the heat. But
that's my job, man. That's my job.
You're the man. So the first time, I realized it was real, was feeling that, just literally feeling it moving inside my body. And then the second time, so I was just sitting in the living room one day, and it was actually my brother's house. He was out shooting a movie in Europe or something, and he let me stay.
He's older than you, right?
Yeah. So he let me stay at his house. It was really beautiful. A lot of open sunlight, and the big glass window in the back. I was watching all the hummingbirds and the bees, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do some meditation. Like this prime time.
Love it.
So I started sitting there. I started sitting there, and up until this point, I started to feel like this, just kind of like this energy coming up to the top of my chest, but it felt like it was getting stuck. So finally, I was sitting, just doing my breathing and just sitting, in the like sukhasana, just cross-legged yoga pose
Yep.
that modified to make it comfortable, and my body just started to shake exactly like it is right now. That is 100% involuntary. And people look at me, and they've looked at me, like I was crazy for the last 15 years because, again, how can you tell that I'm just not like going like this, But
Right.
literally, the energy. So I don't know if you're familiar with the whole yoga philosophy and not philosophy, but the whole yoga Ayurvedic system is that the energy is
What's Ayurvedic?
Ayurvedic means from India. The form of like
Oh,
Chinese
okay.
medicine,
Okay,
Ayurvedic
gotcha.
medicine is like from India 5,000
Oh,
years ago. Chinese medicine is like about 3,000 years ago. So the energy, you talk about this potential in the body, the energy is like trapped in our spine.
yep.
And as we like decompress our spine and get those vertebrae to like separate, the energy is able to go, and there's three main channels, Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna, and they go up and down the spine like this. So when I just relax, and I kind of get this oscillating, motion in my body, it's literally the kundalini, the electricity in my body just going up and down like this. And it
Oh,
and it just started moving me into like yoga poses involuntarily. I was just like, he started to, turn my head, and it would just inherently try to open up muscle tension and blockages in my body. And I just, I had a smartphone, but I never recorded it. It's okay because I could record it right now. Like we're doing it live. Like that's literally like I could sit here for like 2 or 3 hours and we would just keep going, and it would start moving me into different yoga positions and breathing exercises.
really?
So that was the second, like
It's turning your body? So it's
literally, literally. So I mean,
wow.
I'll go off
Wow.
camera if I just let it go, but and it's so crazy because it's always there. Like any second when I just relax and just let it comes up and it emanates out and it literally moves my body. And I've talked to a lot of people,
Wow.
haven't had I haven't talked to anybody who's had the same experience. So I'm not saying I'm the only one. Like I'm sure there's other corners, maybe even corners of this country that people have had that, but it's super
Usually
rare.
it's over.
Yeah,
Usually it's over that
in the
you're
Eastern
more
Hemisphere.
educated. Yeah, exactly.
But I've talked to yoga instructors, and everyone just kind of looks at me sideways. But so I got to a point where I can just focus on an area of my body, like on my neck or my throat, and it just kind of pulses. And like, so that was the second awakening of like,
So are you okay? So in the beginning, you said you had two separate experiences. The first one was with the needles in your back. I've
yep,
done that. That's crazy. And that's to open up stuff. The second one was when you were, in your brother's home and started going. And now, is this a progressive thing that you've gone through to where now you're like, from now, you were just talking about your spine. And then when you relax this area that starts to move. So are you controlling that, or anytime you relax, your body just poof?
it,
I'm
yeah,
trying to figure that out.
I know it's a little confusing because people are like,
No,
"Well, are you just doing that? Or you just it never it wasn't it's never like I allow it. That's basically
okay,
whenever I
okay,
allow it.
gotcha.
Like I could go through the rest of my life and never have that energy come up and circulate throughout my body. Like I can just
Sure.
not suppress it,
What's
but
that?
just
What's that feel like? I mean, I see the movement.
it's
So you
not
got
really
energy going. Is there no feeling? Not really a
it's
feeling.
not it's not super electric.
Yeah,
It's
but it's
more
got to
just
have something.
I'm feeling the muscles move. Um
Okay.
it's more just muscular, but I mean obviously
Okay.
something is causing that to happen, like I don't go around going like, "Oh, look what I could do," you know. But and it is confusing even for me because, and I write about this in the book, is that uh even though I always say that like all the different names for the energy in the body, it's still just one energy. It really feels like there's there's two different systems of energy in the body, because the Kundalini always wants to go up and move out. But then, so, okay, the third big awakening that I learned, like, okay, I'm living proof now that the body is real, the electricity in the body is real, is after
This number 6.
sure. So after about 15 years of going on YouTube and posting videos of like, look, I had this crazy, energy, Kundalini awakening. Look at me, come learn from me. I can teach you how to do it. I can help you. Because it's not like I'm talking about all this crazy energy stuff. And I just want to make sure people realize, like, it's not that unattainable. Like the things that I do that maybe we can talk about later, to open up the circuits in the body, they're so simple. If you knew it, you would just like bang your head into the ground and be like, why wasn't I doing this sooner? So I forgot where I was going, but so yeah, after 15 years of just shouting from the rooftops and the mountaintops, like the Himalayas,
YouTube.
look at me, look at me, look at what's happening, nobody giving a crap, I got really kind of depressed. Like I was like, oh my God, there's like this the most amazing thing in my life happened, and I have just like nothing to show for it. Like nobody gives a crap. Like I go to yoga studios and like, oh yeah, that's cool. Would you like to sign up for a class here? I'm like, dude, what are you going to teach me? My body literally moves into yoga poses involuntarily. Like, no offense, but what are you going to teach me? And no, not to sound arrogant, I was just like, I'm living proof that the energy in the body, this is what we're meant to do. This is life. This is something ancient and inherent in our body. So finally, with a little encouragement from a coworker, I started to look again for another teacher, and I found this guy, from the mountains of China, been training since they were like 5 years old in the temple. And so I went to see him, and he's an acupuncturist. And he literally, after he's done with the needles, uses his hand, and you can see on my website, you go to the 3-bar
What's
menu,
the website?
getrechargednow.com. You go to the 3-bar menu and you go to electricity. It's what I call electricity. Electricity.
Oh, dude, you're a marketer. Good. I love it.
Trying.
That's good. That's good.
And you'll see a video of the guy that he was like probably the most popular master of this energy in the body. He was also an acupuncturist, and he treated people literally with his hands. He could just touch people, and because they've been building the electricity in their body and storing it like a battery, they can bring it up and literally transfer it through their hands. So I met this guy. He takes all the needles out, my first treatment, and then he's like, and he just starts just literally shocking the crap out of me, like, going through each finger of the hand, and it literally, like, I've never been tasered, thank God. Don't plan on it.
Yeah, let's not go overboard here.
Like that guy in the Reds game last year. But literally, I felt like I was being tasered, because like this is not like an electric shock. Like, okay, rub your feet on the carpet, and then I shocked you. This is like continuous stream of like, and you can't see it, but when it goes around the ear, like you can hear it. It's like a really high pitched, like a mosquito.
Oh, really?
But he just opened up so many parts, and I got home. After that first treatment, I was just like, I was like, holy shit, man! Like,
no doubt.
Like, and even for somebody that knows the electricity in the body, ever since I was a kid, being obsessed with yin yang, and martial arts, and like trying to shoot chi balls out like Street Fighter. It was still amazing for me to feel that, because I was like, oh my God, there is literally, I don't know how many thousands of volts of electricity inside this guy's belly, and he's just shooting it out of his hands. Like the electricity in the body is real. Like,
wow.
So I've been training.
Now, was he touching the same spots where the needles were? Or, how's that get controlled?
Anything he touches is going to get shocked to a certain degree. But
gotcha.
They can charge the needles. Yes, they can charge the needles, but also they can literally just transfer it. But knowing, Chinese medicine and what to do with it determines, how well they can actually help someone heal. But I'll tell you, man, I came home, and again, after everything I learned and how healthy and fit that I was considered in this country, again, all my blood tests, 15 years later are perfect. My blood pressures, like 110/70, always, everything's okay. As healthy as everybody thinks that I am. So I would go there, he'd take my pulse and he'd be like, so
Right.
disappointed. Like, Daniel-san, you're not practicing properly. Like, just, and I would just be like, oh my God, like what I'm eating, I'm eating
Swipe right,
vegetables, like,
swipe left.
yeah, I'm swiping all day, man. Like, so again, their understanding and their level of health and fitness and longevity is just, we can't even reach it here. But again, you don't have, it's not that hard to do the things. And it's just, it's frustrating to me because, I've been a dietitian for like 15 years now. And like, I always want to help people. I always want to, like,
Yeah.
and I've taught people, simple yoga poses and, the muscle release system that I do and pieces of it, and breathing exercises. And because I know people need it. And, when you're in a corporate job, they're always like, oh, you need to just stay in your profession and just tell people about, just eat this, don't eat more than 25% of your calories is added sugar, eat this, I just want to tell people and I want to help people because it's so simple.
It is. So let's get into that a little bit here. It's simple.
Yeah.
You've hinted, a little foreshadowing going on, little tease, little hook.
Yeah, show me the leg.
Let's tell you, got a little thigh action going on there. We just had 4 people drop off. I think we went too far there, brother. No.
Oh,
no. So yeah, let's. It's simple. Let's. How does this work? What does it look like?
Yeah, so I mean, first you have to, and that's like the subheading of the book is like how to avoid the 10 main energy drains. There's 10 things that really kind of drain your energy, and I put sleep as number 1. You can eat the best diet in the world, you can have the best, do the best.
Sleeping,
Right, not
or,
sleeping.
Oh, sorry, I missed. I
Yeah.
thought you said sleep is the first
My
drain
bad.
here.
I mean,
no.
category of sleep. Yeah. So if you got poor sleep, whether it's not sleeping enough or it's poor quality sleep, so quantity or quality, that's just going to, again, you can have the perfect diet, do the perfect exercise routine, have a perfectly relaxed, chill day. But if you don't sleep right, you're going to feel like crap. There's no way around it. And I don't, nobody can argue that. So you have to fix your sleep. Like I always say, you have to cover the basics. Second one is like, I think diet. There's a lot of things that we do. So, the conventional wisdom may say, everything in moderation, you can have 1 drink a day for women, 2 drinks a day for men. But yeah, but how is your body feeling? Like if I had 2 drinks every single day, I'd be floating. Like I feel like I wouldn't feel good at all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That hangover, constant hangover, right?
Yeah. And like sugar, you can have this much sugar a day, up to whatever it is. I think it's 25% of your total calorie intake from added sugar or something. But that might be too much for you. So there's things in our body in the diet. Again, I don't forget which episode this was in the future, but yeah, it causes something called dampness in the body, and it hurts our digestive fire or our digestion.
Okay.
And I relate a lot of things from ancient healing and ancient medicine to modern science. And so the way that I interpret dampness, which Chinese medicine talks a lot about, and digestion is, sugar has a high hydrostatic pressure, which is a fancy way of saying sugar attracts water to it. So if you think about it, we're eating all the sugar and it's just creating like this damp swamp in our digestion. And the other thing that we do that again is healthy, this cool health trend that, it's like 90s or 2000s that it got popular, is like drinking cold water, ice cold water. Like it's good, right?
Yeah, it's not good, right?
Okay, so the way I interpret, again, that's dampening our digestive fire, extinguishing literally our digestive fire. The way I interpret that with modern science is we have these things called digestive enzymes, right? I mean, and you remember we learned in school without these enzymes, it would take like years to digest 1 meal.
Right.
So now
Breaks
these
it down. Right.
right. So and then chem lab, we learned that these enzymes function best at a certain temperature and pH. So now we're going to eat a bunch of food and we're going to dump a bunch of
Ah,
freezing cold water on it, and
freeze it out.
it's stopping the digestive enzymes from doing their job, and it's causing incomplete digestion, and it's causing, you can feel it. It causes fatigue and incomplete digestion, the dampness in the body. So there's these little things that you can do in your normal everyday lifestyle to avoid draining yourself. And again, we think these things are healthy. Oh, I'm chugging ice cold water all day. I'm burning calories. Yay. Stealing your literally thermodynamics. It's stealing energy from your body, temperature wise, and it's just screwing up your digestion. But the
Yeah.
biggest
But,
thing, sorry, the biggest
oh,
thing that I teach people is like the muscle release techniques. And so what I
okay.
learned was, um, I was a wrestler, right? So my
Hmm.
body was just super tight. And then I went to college and I started lifting, and just body was all tight, yeah, healthy and tight, whatever.
Yeah, it sucks.
So,
Bad combination.
but I learned that stretching, and I stretched every day. There's people that don't stretch, but even the people that do, but all that does is yank on muscles that are already tight. If you have a rubber band and you pull it, it's tight, and then you pull it even more, it doesn't loosen up. It just
That's
stretches even
true.
more. I mean, it
That's true.
tightens even more. So that's all we're doing for flexibility is we're tightening our body. And so the stretching doesn't work. So we accumulate 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, a whole lifetime of tension in the body, in our muscles, and in our spine. And
So
again,
true.
this tension in the muscles and the spine closes down the circulation of blood, oxygen, nutrients, and electricity, bioelectricity. So we're literally we're short circuiting all our circuits. So when I teach people to do simple things like, just sit, let your elbows rest on your thighs and just let your head drop and just relax, and let your spine decompress, all the way up through your neck, let your muscles relax, you just start to have so much more energy, and you can
How
feel,
long?
what's that?
How long are you doing this?
I mean, you
Because
can do
that makes freaking awesome. I'll say freaking now.
it.
That makes freaking awesome sense because decompress. I mean, you go to a couple. What do? They decompress your spine.
Right.
Wow, I never thought. Just sit. How long? How long?
I
How long
mean,
are
you can
doing
do it as little as 5 seconds sometimes, and you'll feel, if you literally,
Yeah, I can.
if you lean on your thighs, with your knees level with your hips, your thighs are parallel with the
So you're
floor.
sitting in a chair.
Yep. And
Gotcha.
you just lean forward, put your elbows on your thighs, and just let your head drop, and just relax and sink into the chair, sink into your thighs, let your head drop. I mean, even just 5 seconds, you might hear your spine, your back crack, as things loosen up,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and your muscles will start to release. And you do this on a daily basis, so as little as 5 seconds, but ideally, around a minute for each muscle release technique. And you just do that every day, and you just start to turn back the clock, like literally. Like I
Wow.
can't tell you maybe blood test wise how it's happening, but I can tell you that 10 years later, I feel 20 times better than I did 10 years ago.
Wow.
And every year that I've done this, I've felt younger. Obviously, I'm not saying I can keep doing that forever, or else, I'd be a very rich person. But
Yeah.
there's
And
limits.
old.
Yeah, there's
And
limits.
old.
But you can turn back the clock, and you can just start to again raise that baseline of where now this is your baseline of health.
So you're and makes perfect sense as I said before, but you're talking about what did you say, like 30 years of tightening constantly, and then you add on to it like a guy like me. Basically, my job is to sit on the stool and
Yeah,
chit chat. I'm compressing even more because I'm not. My job isn't out on a construction site, which is obviously a lot
right.
healthier than
Well, I
this.
mean,
So,
even
but
people
that,
that do heavy and tedious
Yeah,
jobs, they're tightening their body even more.
absolutely, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
you,
That's crazy. So you're pulling that apart and allowing the energy to go through. Is that's what you're talking, right? Or
yeah,
tell
yeah.
me
I mean,
more. Tell me.
yeah. I mean, the circuits they need the circuits have to have open flow, and if they're blocked, you're not going to get enough electricity going to this organ, so it's going to pull energy from
Yeah.
the next weakest
Oh,
organ.
unbalanced.
And yeah, and then it's
Oh,
just this constant relay of,
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
yeah, draining, pulling energy
Perfect.
from your heart to give to the lungs, to pull from the stomach and the spleen, and then it all leads to the kidneys. And
Oh, ooh.
I want to make sure I let people know that when we're born with a certain amount of energy that's supposed to last the rest of our lives. And this is a cool parallel between modern medicine and Chinese medicine, is that um, it's called a vital essence, and it's stored. The kidneys are the, houses, this energy that's supposed to last the rest of our lives. So any deficiency of
Oh.
substance in the body is going to be some kind of deficiency. It's going to pull from the kidneys.
More
So,
than it should. More than
right,
it's registered or built for.
right. So then, uh,
Wow.
in modern medicine, we have a finite amount of adrenaline, and we start to get this, adrenal insufficiency as we get older. And you can actually, they could test for things, to tell um, the health of the, adrenal glands. But the adrenals are right on top of the kidneys. So, we only have a certain amount of adrenaline, but over time, again, we're not healthy. So again, me going into the
Sucking up.
gym, running or weightlifting whenever I don't feel, full of, whenever I'm tired, I'm just like, oh, I need to do more cardio or more, weightlifting. I'm just dipping into that. Or, runners, I mean, God love them, they run these marathons, and they just keep running. I always say, anything more than a mile, just drive a car. Like, that's what we have cars for. But um, every single runner I've worked with has,
Dude, you're funny, man.
I'm glad you think so. Um, every single runner I've worked with has shaved multiple minutes off their marathon time, because they've taken away all this tension in their muscles, so there's less resistance holding them back. So
Yeah.
while I don't tell people, don't start running marathons,
Oh,
because
makes sense.
it helps. It helps with sports performance. It helps with just general energy. It helps with
I'll
everything.
tell you something about you, and I'm an older guy, so these kind of uh, thoughts or interests are, they get bigger when you get older.
Oh
And
yeah.
one thing that what you're talking about here is that when you start saying the blood flow and the energy and all that opening up, I mean, I can say from experience, there's a difference in certain places. ED is an issue, right?
Yeah.
So we get all these different tops, but one of the things, I mean, there's a difference if you're pulling that out, because now that you talked about blood flow, that's the big deal, right?
Hmm.
That has something to do, guys. I believe me, I heard that and I'm like, okay, come on. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
stretching, brother. I'm leaning. I'm gonna lean for
Yeah.
5 hours a day before a
Yeah.
date.
So I teach people, and there's a pose called in yoga called cobbler's pose, and
What is that?
cobbler's pose.
Cobbler. Okay, gotcha.
And whether this is 100% fact or not, with double-blind placebo-controlled studies or whatever, but they put the shoe in between their feet, and they work on the shoe like this, so with their feet together, like the butterfly stretch. We would call it the butterfly stretch here, where you sit on the ground
Okay.
with the soles of your feet together.
Okay.
But there supposedly they have a very low occurrence of prostate problems, because
Hmm.
they're always opening up so much circulation to the pelvic region.
Hmm.
But that's
Absolutely.
one of the things that I teach people to do, is like, okay, even if you're not flexible enough to do yoga, the muscle release system, literally, you don't have to be flexible at all. Like, you can modify a position to meet where your body's at, and you'll just feel release. Like I was at an expo, a health expo, Mind Body Spirit Expo, a month ago,
Mhm.
and I had 4 people come up to me to my booth, my little booth that I paid, $1,000 for.
Yeah. I live that life.
And I helped these 4 people feel relief for sciatic pain in less than 30 seconds each. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all. But
I believe
it
it.
was all because the only thing that they've ever been taught to do is to stretch, and they're pushing and trying to stretch a muscle that's already tight, and it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you're actually aggravating it at that point,
absolutely. And I don't
you
know how
know,
these professionals, they keep telling people to do these kinds
because
of
they make
things.
money.
Yeah, and they're the professionals. So,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
have to get autonomy of our bodies back. And again, health is how you feel. If you don't feel right, don't let somebody tell you that I'm not telling you to make up problems and say that, not be grateful for your body and how it's working and, the
Sure,
energy that
that's
you
true.
have. But if you really don't feel good or you feel like something's wrong, you might be right, you know?
Something's probably wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, this has been damn it. I'm sorry, audience, because I know this would have been followed up. We got to do a follow-up on this thing.
Yeah, we got
And
6 or 7
uh,
already.
yeah, oh yeah, hell yeah, yeah. I think we could easily get a dozen, if we worked on it a little bit. But I wanted to ask, kind of to wrap it up, if there's anything we missed. And I'm assuming all these things are in your book. By the way, although I don't know how useful it's going to be, but you see the private chat over there. There's the comment on. I think it's on your on this side over here.
Yep, I see it. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't see
So
anything.
would you put your, yeah, no kidding, huh? Would you put your contact information in there, and then I'll copy and post it over to the comments, which I've played around with it. I guess I can do it, but nobody else can. I got to fix that. So yeah, put that in there. And also, I wanted to kind of send off with a final thought and all that, but leading to that, I wanted to ask you. So this is that pose. I forget what you call it, but man, that feels so good right now. It's just, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's pulling that all away. It's all. Is there other place? I mean, is that the thing?
No, I mean,
Instead of stretching, you got this one.
one.
Is there other muscle release?
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole
Uh,
system, and,
is that in
when
your book?
there's a few to get you started. There's a
Gotcha.
few, and I
Okay.
think that one is in the book. There's a few in
Yeah.
the back to
God,
get you
that felt
started.
good. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah,
That felt good.
but,
Go ahead, finish this show. I'm gonna stay like this for a
yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah. But,
Damn, dude, hey guys, that really feels good. Especially the
yeah,
shoulder
try it.
blades.
Yeah.
The shoulder blade areas gets pulled up too, and that kind of aligns everything the way it
But
should be. So
so, again, with everything I've learned and all these people that I've trained, these superhuman people, um,
yeah.
even my yoga instructor back in the day, I bring everything into something called recharging wellness coaching. So I'm a wellness coach, but I'm a dietitian. Personally, I'm giving you, nutrition advice, exercises, the muscle release system, helping you fix your sleep, helping you change that negative programming in your head, get the subconscious, get past your subconscious limits that are holding you back, and just let you be happy and healthy is freaking possible. And I just roll it all into, helping you recharge your body.
Sorry,
'Cause
I'm taking too long here. I apologize. I'm
Oh,
leaving
no
you out
problem.
on the hook. So I'm just trying to. I'm getting you over there. So you now, is each of these uh, expertise, or each of these, like health and wellness, nutritionist, getting your, all that, is a coach? Is that something that's a holistic thing, that when you're coaching somebody, is all that brought in? Do
Oh,
you have groups? I mean, how's that all work? And then let's
absolutely.
wrap it up and kick you out of here.
Yeah, so absolutely. So I look at everything. Sometimes someone has a really stressful job, and that's the biggest imbalance, and we got to tackle that. You know, Positive reframing, figure out how to have a better relationship, work balance. Sometimes they're just eating crap, or they're not eating enough. Sometimes their sleep is horrible and they wake up exhausted. Sometimes they're super tight. But so I focus on, what the biggest imbalance is first, and just start balancing out everything in their lifestyle until, people are confident with their lifestyle. They're eating the right way, they're thinking the right way, they're moving the right way, they're sleeping the right way, and they can, I can kick them out of the nest and they can just phew, fly free for the rest of their lives. And just aging doesn't have to be such a quick decline. Like, there is such a better way.
Yeah. And I think I kind of relate. Do you see the comment there?
I see my comment. Oh, wait, comment.
Do you see? Yeah. I just copied
I see yours. Yeah.
it over. Okay. So maybe people don't like you like I thought they did. They just don't want to talk to you, Rich. And I don't know. Maybe they're afraid that you're going to zap them. Maybe. I'm really disappointed, folks.
I swear I'm a friendly guy.
Well, I swear to God, I promise you, so I screwed something up on this end. There was something I wanted to ask you that was what you were kind of rolling out at the end, and
wellness coaching.
Yeah, so that wellness coaching is a whole complete. I mean, you have groups, you have one-on-one. Let's kind of roll it off and kick your ass out of here.
Yeah, it's one-on-one, but now that you say that, I have location to do retreats in the Smoky Mountains, and
there you go.
I'm gonna look at Miami as well, but I have one coming up in October. I got one coming up in October. You go up on this resort and you just have panoramic views of you don't have to go anywhere. But even saying that, that being said, Gatlinburg's like 5 minutes north, and then like Pigeon Forge is like 5 minutes south. So we're going to do little excursions. We're going to go on mountain coasters. We're going to go out to eat, and we're just going to hang out, and we're going to learn this amazing information with each other and just enjoy in the mountains. And it's just going to be phenomenal.
That's okay. Hit me up on that one. I'm in. Would you say October?
Yeah, October. But yeah, even if you guys couldn't comment for whatever reason today, there's a contact me on my website. I'm sure you know how to contact this guy here. But yeah, let me know any questions.
They bug me.
Yeah,
they bug me, man. That's why I put that in there, because I guarantee you I'm gonna get a shitload of comments now. Maybe not so positive on some of them.
That's
but
right. We're building anticipation for the next show.
Yeah, we're making them starve for it. All right, my friend, give your fans that are out there that I kept mute a big wave, and I'll see you in a second in the green room. Thanks, brother. All right, so a little early there. Sorry about that, Rich. I was a little click happy, I think. So, by the way, I wanted to ask you something. It looked like. Let me bring you back on here first. I'm not going to let you get away with that. I've never seen. Can you see this? Can you see? I don't know if you can see even my cursor, but can you see this Insights and Straight Talk tab on the bottom lower next to your name? Can you see that, or is that just what I see? I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I see Insights and Straight Talk on the bottom right.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the hell that's doing. Now, do you have something behind you? That's like a we talked about your 8-year-old painting, but it looked like you have some sort of so your energy is just it's okay. I'm asking weird questions because some of the things I've never seen.
A being behind me?
There's a square. It looks like a
I mean, it's the window thing. I got
no, not that. Right behind you, right underneath your whale drawing. I see something going on there, and it's blending in with the thing I just said. I've never seen this. Rich, hey folks,
okay, magic touch.
There's some proof right there. Stuff's happening. I mean, even through my screen, a couple of times I saw a flicker of light go across. And I'm not making it up. I swear to God.
Yeah, I never asked you. Where are you at? You're in CST
right now.
Yeah,
you mean where I am now?
In Central Time.
Yeah, right? I am. I'm in Chicago.
Man, you're right up the street.
Yep. And I'm from California. That's where producer Barbie is. She didn't have it. Her daughter-in-law her first grandbaby, and now another one on the way. So I couldn't compete with that. I mean, hell, I'm trying to get back to my grandkids. Well, I'm from the West Coast. I was born in Seattle, lived all over the world, military family, kind of like what you were talking about a little bit there, where you're running around. So I'm going to give you a chance to actually say bye without cutting your ass off.
Okay.
But I had to bring you back up because, you know, we're talking energy and there's some stuff happening that normally doesn't happen. I'm impressed as hell. So now here, let's time this out. Ready, set, say bye, my friend.
Right now.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were just the screen again. All right, bye everyone.
No.
All right, bye everyone. Thank you for watching, and remember, don't just sit there. Recharge.
Yeah, dude, you're the man. All right, see ya. All right, that was a better ending. Let's cut that other part out. I knew there was a reason I was asking that weird question about his electricity going on, but so great show, guys. I hope you leave lots of comments behind so that myself and Richie can you know, get you back some information. I'm assuming you guys can see his contact information here. I don't know what's going on. I even got shadows like so the whole thing's out of tweak. I'm all out of tweak. So like I said, you know, you're sitting here, you're joining us. There's still almost 300 people here, and I'm just babbling about stuff. So we appreciate this support. We need the support. We need more support. Pass it around to your friends. We're getting 20 to 30 new subscribers a day. We're kind of really, I mean, the guests that are coming on that have we've connected with and have coming on are absolutely amazing. I mean, the topics are drawing hundreds and what do you see? Oh, now I'm starting to, okay, I got to get off quick before it goes down to zero. I just lost 100 people. But you see, there's a lot of people that need this data, this information, these details. And, you know, and so where do you go? You go to Insights and Straight Talk. With me, I'm your host, Rod Duff. And of course, producer Barbie is always there. She was trying to help me with my technical issue. But, you know, all I can say is I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. There it is. We're done.